right, welcome to the Exitable Business Podcast, where we discuss how to create enterprise value all of the time, how to double and triple the value of your business now, not just when it's time to sell or when you get an offer. Today, we have the privilege to have Mathew Rivera on as a guest for the show. Mathew is the CEO of the Inspection Boys, and Inspection Boys is a national property inspection franchise concept that is gaining some real steam. Welcome to the show, Mathew.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet, man. So a little bit about Mathew. He's been in the real estate inspection industry for almost 10 years now. Has started up the Inspection Boys. Again, it's a property inspection franchise that's just growing like crazy. Mathew also owns a traffic control business and is an avid real estate investor. So Mathew, before we get into all the good stuff, I know you have so much value to share with people and our listeners. What's one interesting fact that not many people know about you?
Interesting fact. Let's see. I'm an introvert. I'm not used to doing these podcasts. I kind of stick to myself. I would say that's, most people, they see me on Facebook or LinkedIn and they think I'm more outgoing than I really am.
It's kind of funny because I'm kind of the same way. I'm an introvert. I've been an introvert my whole life, but it's interesting when we kind of realize that, hey, to take ourselves professionally and or personally to the next level, we have to be an extrovert for certain things. And I don't know if it's the same with you, but I feel like it is with me. I have to put on that extrovert mentality and persona. But then when I need time to rest, man, after some, and it's kind of funny, right? Isn't it? Some people, like extroverts, they actually gain momentum and fuel from being an extrovert and being around other people, when other of us, like introverts, we actually deplete energy and we need to sit and relax.
I agree 100%. And that's exactly how I am. I mean, as the businesses start growing, you got to be more vocal. People have to know who you are, and you got to do these things. And then, like you said, it depletes me.
It's very interesting. So cool, man. So Mathew, tell us a little bit about your journey, through your career and kind of professionally, and, what brought you to where you are today, owning a franchise concept that you're going nationally with, man. How did you get here?
Well, I mean, we could start off. I went to high school, graduated, went to college for business, but I dropped out and became a lineman, power lineman, working, on the power lines. And I did that for 10 years. I loved it. Yeah. I was 18. It was the best job in the world. We made great money.
Yeah.
But I always had that passion inside to own a business. So, I dabbled, I had a carpet cleaning business. I had a website development company. And then I really tried to hone in on what I enjoyed. And I really always loved real estate, whether I was buying, building, doing construction. So the home inspection area kind of, was the perfect area for me because it kept me in the real estate game. I got to learn and, I enjoyed it. I got to help people. So that's kind of what started the home inspection, the business. And then from there, I started seeing weaknesses. I opened up a home inspection school, and all my students were good at doing home inspections. They weren't good at running businesses.
Wow.
That's where it became, maybe because at first, you're like, well, I'm never going to franchise my business. Why would I franchise? Why would I give them my money?
Yeah.
Then you start dealing with, the local companies in my area, the top 5 biggest in my area, all are franchises. Why? Why were they successful? So I started digging in, doing research, and realizing that the franchise, is the systems, the processes, the accountability. When somebody pays money for something, they're a little bit more accountable in their own mind. So that's what brought us to the franchise arena.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. It's very interesting that people start a business because that's what they're good at, right? That, they come from a company. Hey, I've done home inspections. I'm going to open up my own business. But exactly what you're saying, they don't know how to do, they can do half the business, right? The fulfillment side, but they don't know how to do the front side of it. Um, would you say, that's one of the biggest advantages to people that purchase a franchise from you?
Definitely. I mean, the thing that people don't understand is every mistake you make costs you money. And when
Yeah.
you're in a franchise system, when you work with, franchises, we're spending our money so you don't make the mistakes. So everybody's like, oh, I don't want to pay, 20 grand, 40 grand, 80 grand to a franchise as a franchise fee, but they don't realize all of their mistakes add up. When I started doing home inspections, I paid the wrong website guy. I paid the wrong advertising. I paid this, I paid
Yeah.
that. And, 20, 30 grand went like that.
Right. Real quick.
Being in a
Yeah.
franchise would have made the difference.
Yeah. Well, and I think I think people have to be careful too, because I think what you're doing, not all franchises will do that. So when I launched my property management franchise concept, 10 years ago, um, I was actually coaching property managers before that. And I was coaching people who were in franchises, because their franchise, all they got with their franchise model was how to do the business. There was people that didn't even know how to do the property management. So they were buying the systems and how to do all that. And then when it came to marketing and sales, there was nothing there. So the fact that you guys are not only providing the systems, the back end, the how to, but also like a solid marketing and sales front end, that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, me and my partners are heavily involved in the industry. I run the location. My partner runs, I think, 6 or 7 locations. So,
Wow.
Between that, running the home inspection school, my partner's loyalty brand, they have, a couple hundred locations under their belt. We're committed full time to this.
Yeah, totally. So when it comes to like what you guys are doing, and I don't want you to spill any of your secret beans or anything that, but when it comes to marketing for home inspection, what's been the real winner for you? Maybe the top 2 or 3 things that gets most of your guys' clients.
It's funny. It's really everything. We
Okay.
look at it as a holistic approach. Um, in the home inspection arena, your top marketing is always going to be the real estate agents. That's the low hanging fruit. Real estate agents are always going to recommend who they like.
Yeah, because they have a sale and they need exactly what you guys offer every time, right?
Exactly. They need it done fast, so they're the first point of contact generally. But, our marketing system takes social media, AdWords, Google, like we do everything. So when one thing isn't working, the other's picking up the slack. Like if you have 5 or 10 agents that refer you, they usually in cycles, they'll have 2 or 3 jobs and then a couple weeks go by with nothing. So that's when AdWords or something else picks up Facebook. So,
Right.
it's a
Okay.
little bit of everything, but it's constantly doing it.
Yeah. And one of the things that we talk about when we talk about like creating enterprise value in a company and that transferable value is having systems in place, both systems on the front end that allow leads to come in without the owner necessarily having to be super involved, and provide fulfillment on the back end without the owner having to be a ton involved. And so it sounds like from that standpoint, you have systems that are on the front end that are bringing these leads in from different avenues. Maybe 1 month, one might be higher, one might be lower, but they're bringing a constant source of leads that isn't necessarily required of the owner, right? Because some people, when the owner has to do the leads, they do the leads, and then they get the business, and then their marketing drops off because they have to fulfill that now. And it sounds like you're actually putting automation and systems in place that mitigate that.
We are, but again, the owner, there's still work to be done.
Sure.
Everything's about personal relationships. We could get leads coming in, we could get this, but at the same time, if they're not building their local network and building, Chamber of Commerce, the
Yeah, totally.
tips, the P&Is, they're still not going to be successful.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally. Awesome. So when it comes to, I know one of the things you and I were talking about before we started recording, or last time we talked, was you actually built your franchise with the exit strategy in mind for
Correct.
your people, for your franchisees.
Correct. We did. Do you want me to go into a little bit?
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
sounds good.
So from teaching the home inspection school, I ran across a lot of people that wanted to get into business, and I started looking at other businesses, home inspection businesses, and I realized that they never really sold. There was no businesses for sale that were home inspection business, so there was a small amount compared to other industries. So after diving into it, I learned that most people set their company up wrong from the beginning. They name it Joe's Home Inspection, John's Home Inspection.
Right. Yeah.
They do all the wrong steps because they're not thinking about exiting. They're thinking about starting. And if they don't correct it along the line, most people just get it. They start going. They're Joe's Home Inspection. They do great for 10 years. And then when it's like, oh, wait, I need to retire, or I want to sell my business, they realize there's no value in it.
Wow.
So that's where, the franchise comes into place, where when you're part of the inspection boys, you're a franchise. You're not Joe's Home Inspection. When you sell, you don't lose customers because, they thought they were getting Joe, because they never knew about Joe. That's the difference. So we set it up so, down the line you could sell, and we help other home inspectors that want to sell say, hey, if you come to us 3 or 4 years before selling, let's convert, let's get all the systems in place, and now let's, get your ROI up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, what a value add, man. And I can't agree enough. What you've done for that industry, the home inspection industry, is virtually what, you learned it from coaching and from having your school. And it's the same thing that I do for people, just not, you're doing it for the home inspection industry. You have a whole franchise concept set up around it. That's so awesome, man. What are the biggest things, like, if you had to put your finger on, the top things that you implement in making their business so that it can sell?
So again, I would say the biggest thing is taking themselves out of it. Not making the company more about the inspections and not about yourself.
Do they have to be a certain size for that? Do they like, is there a certain annual revenue that they have to get to before you can really be effective in doing that?
Yes and no. It makes it easier. The way the home inspection business kind of works is generally most people will start off as one person, and then they either stay as a one person, company, or they decide to grow. If they decide to grow, that's when you put a marketing person and you get inspectors under you, and that's when all the systems come in real handy, and that's when it's easier to sell. The less employees, the less systems you implement, the harder it is to sell.
Gotcha. 100%. Yeah. Okay. Any other big ticket things when you think about that, kind of creating that exit strategy?
Well, another one that's big for us is technology. Over the last, I've been doing home inspections for about 10 years. The technology has changed drastically, and I would say it's still only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more stuff that's coming out, and us as a franchise, we're about adapting to it. There's a lot of companies that say, hey, we're not, what we're doing works, and they're not adapting. We are.
Yeah. Well, and I would think that, like, to attract more people, you want to be a thought leader in the industry and trying new things, and always looking to increase your gross margins.
Exactly. And it's about efficiency. Drones came out a couple years ago, and home inspectors like, well, I'm never going to use a drone. But now they're starting to realize, like, wow, I could get up to a roof I couldn't put a ladder on, or I could see angles that I couldn't get to. So, we adapted. We use drones. It's all different types of technology like that, it makes your life easier, it makes you more efficient, and the customer likes it better.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I wouldn't even think that drones could be used. I mean, like when you think about inspections, what are they really looking at when you look at drones or use
So
drones?
so we have two types of drones. You have the drone that flies, and that's for the roof, the siding. There's some roofs that you can't see from the ground or you can't get a ladder on because they're too steep. Now the drone will be able to fly all angles, get everything. And then they call it a drone, but it's like a little, almost, little tank that has cameras on it, and it could go under the house for crawl spaces and areas you can't crawl
What?
into.
Oh, no way. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
before that you just had to deal with the black widows and go in like a foot a foot of a crawl space.
exactly. And then you start talking to yourself trying to get out of there.
Yeah. When I did my property management franchise concept, one of the biggest challenges I found with the franchisees was their leadership capability. And as they started expanding, just being able to inspire people and understand that it's really about people and not just the thing in the business, and being able to help them be leaders. Do you find that an issue at all for you?
So I want to say we are still in the startup mode, so it has been an issue. But I mentioned it earlier. We partnered with loyalty brands. My business partners on that side is John Hewitt. He was the founder of Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, Liberty Tax Service.
Yeah.
So we partnered with them because they're there and helping us with that. We have all of our franchisees get put on a leadership call. We have basically everything at their disposal. We have mentors and coaches. It's really hard to change somebody, but at the same time, if they're willing to learn, we have everything there for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I would say that that's, as people start growing, that's probably one of the biggest things that they need, that resource. And it sounds like yet again, you guys have found a great way for them to leverage that tool.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is they put us through it first. So we were like their trial. So there's 9 or 10 brands. They put all the CEOs and upper management through all the classes and all the training and all the mentors. And, as much as we all knew, we were all still learning so much. So now, when our franchisees go through it, we know what they're going through. We know how to help coach them at the same time.
Gotcha. So talk about some of the successes of whether one of your franchises or, somebody in one of your classes. What's maybe like one of your best students or your best company?
So it's funny. Two of my students came to mind, and I'm not going to say their name, but they'll know who they are. When I teach the class, I give away a lot of jewels.
Sure.
I don't hold nothing back. I say what I would do, how I would do it. Reason being is, say 80-90% of the people never even become home inspectors. The 10% that do, some work for people, some don't. But when you're in my class, I'm telling you exactly how I would do it, what I would do with my marketing strategy. And there are 2 students that really listened.
Yeah.
One of them never even became a home inspector. And, I'm almost proud when I see them doing so good and growing because I knew they paid attention.
Yeah. That's awesome. You said one didn't become a home inspector though?
Yeah, one went to the class and just opened up a home inspection company, and he subbed them all out. So he runs the company, but he's not a home inspector.
Interesting. Now is that your model at all in the franchise concept, or is it to have home inspector employees?
It is our model. So we prefer that, but the person that has that mindset is a business person. They need to come in with more money. If you're not going to be the home inspector, your margin
Yeah.
goes down a lot. So a
Yeah.
lot of, people that come in, they want to be the home inspector because they're making 40, 50% on the job plus their profit margin. If you flip that, now you're paying that, your profit margin is 20, 30%. You need to have more money.
Yeah. So if you're starting out with a little bit more of a bootstrap, then you're going to be the guy or gal out there doing the inspections to start. But if you're coming in with the business owner mentality and you want to kick it off right from the start, you just got to have money to be able to fund it and keep going. No problem. Bring in subcontractors.
Exactly.
Out of curiosity, was he able to grow his business faster, do you think, than the other folks who are bootstrapping and doing the inspections themselves?
I would say he did, but
Yeah.
he was in the industry,
Oh, okay.
so
He knew some people.
he knew some people. He knew a lot of people. So,
Yeah.
but again, he went into it planning on not making as much money up front, but to get it on cruise control. And he's doing very well. We talk all the time. So yeah, he followed a good model.
No, that's awesome. I mean, because most people, like you said, bootstrapping, we get so involved in our stuff, in the art of what we do, that we don't spend the time working on the business. And he did that from day one, marketing,
Yep.
the sales, and working on the business.
Exactly. And that's the goal. Like I said, we do look for that now. People that want to run the business, not work in the business. That's a huge bonus. Not saying that we won't sell it to somebody that's going to run the business, but it does take a little bit more time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Very cool. Awesome, man. So when you look back over your tenure, what do you think have been the keys to your success, as you've gone? What's made you so successful, man?
I'm very motivated, self-motivated. I'm super competitive, not like outgoing competitive. Like I don't need to be the best on a sports team.
Yeah.
But when I see somebody doing good,
Yeah.
I mentally say, why can't I do that? Or how do I do that? So if I see somebody else that's like, yo, I just did this or I just did that, my mind is trying to figure out, how do I do that? How do I do that better? So I'm motivated and I also don't give up. If I say I'm going to do it, I really just keep going.
Dude, I love it. That tenacity, that persistence.
Exactly. I'm super persistent. I'm like that, at the end of the day, I just keep crunching along.
Yeah. Do you read a lot?
I listen to books.
Okay.
So
I saw the Richest Man in Babylon in back of there, and that's an amazing book.
Yeah,
so
that's one of my favorites. So that I pretty much I try to listen to a book a week on Audible. My reading, I don't comprehend it as good when I read it, but when I listen to it, it registers.
Yeah, it's so funny how different people are set up for different ways. Like I'm the exact opposite. My son is like you. My son can go to college. He's in college right now. So he goes and he sits through like a course or, a lecture, and he's got it. It's in his head. Whereas I don't get it unless I write it down and reread it. And you get it just by listening. And yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Me and your son are exactly the same. That's exactly how I would explain it. I could listen to it and be good, but if I write it down or if I'm reading it, I don't get it.
What are you listening to right now?
What am I listening to right now? Let me pull it up. Let me see. I didn't start. So yesterday was a holiday. I didn't start my book this week. So
I'm put you on
last
spot.
week I finished Profit First.
Oh, no way. Awesome.
Yeah. So that was last week's. That was actually the second time I listened to it. I try to, some books I repeat every year or two just to see if I missed something. I actually enjoyed it a lot more this time than I did the first time.
There's a lot to unpack in that book, and that I'm impressed. That one is like there's a lot of equations and all that kind of stuff, and
yeah, that's why I think the first time it kind of went over my head.
Yeah. Are you going to be looking to implement that in your company?
Um, not the whole system, but some of it. We
Okay,
actually already talked about opening up a couple separate bank accounts and taking
cool.
out the profit
Yeah.
first. So we're gonna implement most of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I do with my clients. It has a dramatic effect because we don't, we think about paying our bills first, and it's a total mind shift. It's a
Yeah.
total different approach. That it's the way we should be doing it. So, um, awesome, man. Well, there's been so many awesome nuggets in this already about franchising and the benefits and what you guys are providing for people in the home inspection industry. Man, that's just a no-brainer. Is there specific areas, if I was thinking about getting into home inspection, or looking to buy a home inspection company or start one, is there certain areas that you guys are opening the franchises to?
Right now we're pretty much selling across the whole country. We're catching a little bit of momentum in Florida and the Carolinas. But
Nice.
this industry is great because you could open one up anywhere there's real estate. Unless you're in like a super rural area where you have to travel 100 miles to see people, it works. Any city, it works. So I would say anyone that's interested should contact us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're almost wrapped up. I'll have you share how people can get in touch with you. So what I wanted to ask is the last part. So if you could go back, right, 10, 15 years from now, whatever, Matthew, and you could only give yourself, your younger CEO version of yourself, one piece of advice, just one, what would that be, man?
So if I went back 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
um, I would, so 10, 15 years ago, I was going to open up a business and it was a franchise and I didn't have the money. And that's when I got my job as doing power line work. If I had to give myself one piece of advice, it would be buy the franchise, figure it out, don't take the job.
Wow. Love that. So anybody listening to this, the way I kind of correlate that for anybody else is like, make the leap as fast as you can and just go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I would have if I would have tried a little bit harder to figure it out. I remember it exactly. The guy that had the franchise told me I needed $80,000, and I was 18 years old, and I'm like, I don't got $80,000. He's like, well, get a job and save up. And I went and got a
Mm,
job and saved up, but I didn't ask anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. And next thing you know, 5 years later, when I could have came up with $80,000,
yeah,
the franchise was sold out on Long Island.
got it. Yeah. And it's so funny. It took me, I didn't really make the full leap away from corporate America until, geez, myself 6 years ago. I was still an entrepreneur, but it was a side time hustle. It took that long to, replace the income and make a leap. And it's funny because we have to provide for family. We're in the rat race, and had I had someone which whispered in my ear long before I had a family, like, dude, don't get in corporate America, don't get in the rat race, do a business before you get tied down with kids and a wife and all that. And man, that would have been like the best piece of advice somebody could ever give me. I mean, I got no regrets, but
Exactly. Yeah, I don't have any regrets, but I'm the same way. That's what it is. Once you have the family, the pressure's a little different.
it's totally different. Yeah. Yeah. That's some Robert Kiyosaki stuff right there.
Exactly.
Awesome. Hey, Matthew. Well, hey, so how can people get a hold of you if they, number one, have any questions? Maybe somebody wants to franchise their concept, or maybe someone wants to buy a home inspection company or take your course. How can they get in touch with you?
So the easiest way is our website. If they just Google Inspection Boys, the Inspection Boys will pop up, or Loyalty Brands.
Cool.
Loyalty Brands, we have another 10 companies, franchise systems that are under us. Either one of those will get directly to me. They just fill it out, say, looking to speak to Matt, and they'll get a hold of me.
Wait, so Loyalty Brands, is that your company as well?
Loyalty Brands is my sister company. They're the ones that bought half of us with John Hewitt. So we have another sister brands. I think there's 10 of us right now. So we have ATAX, Johnson, Zoom and Grooming, Little Medical School, Ledgers. So there's a couple other brands that, you know, if they're looking to franchise, but home inspection isn't the right one for them, there's other brands we can help them with.
Very cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't realize you had that whole other piece going on.
Yeah. You know, I only talk about a little bit every now and then.
You got that humble thing going, right on. Cool, man. Well, hey, Mathew, thanks again for being on the show. This was so awesome. So many nuggets in here for people you know, and I think one of the most important things is takeaways for me from, you know, listening to you is really the importance of, from the beginning, designing that business to not run with you in the middle of it. And when you begin from that thought in mind and have that be the product, the actual company be the product, you're going to have so much more enterprise value and flexibility down the road.
Exactly. That's it.
Very cool, man. Well, hey, thanks again, Mathew. And thank you to listeners for tuning into the podcast. Please hit the like and subscribe button and help us spread the word about the Exitable Business Podcast and what we're doing here. With that, this is Patrick Rogers with the Exitable Business Podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks a lot.